Is Hayward's injury a minor or major setback?
To me, it's not major. I'm not going to go. I'm not trying to disrespect him by saying it's minor, but it's not that major to me because I believe, that's just more opportunities, more shots for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. That's how I view this Celtics team. They're not that deep, so obviously it matters, and I get that. And the brother did average 17 points this year, 38% shooting from three-point range, 50% shooting from the field in the 52 games that he's played. I get all of that. And I like them a lot, and they lack depth, so I get it. But I just view it as an opportunity for Jaylen Brown to shine even more, and of course, for Jason Tatum to continue to do the kind of things that we all know he's capable of doing. I didn't see the Celtics coming out of the East. I didn't view them as a superior team because obviously Kemba Walker hasn't been 100% healthy, not to mention the fact that they lack depth. And I look at Milwaukee and Miami and Toronto before I even look at them. But in the end, my attitude is that I respect the hell out of Gordon Hayward, but that nasty, gruesome injury that he suffered from, even though he's on the court and healthy and playing, what he is compared to what he was before that injury in 2017, game one of his Celtics career in Cleveland. I was right there about 20 feet away. What a nasty, nasty injury. It's a miracle to see him back out on the court playing at a high level. I'm just of the mindset, with all of that being said, that this is not the difference maker that a lot of people are trying to make it out to be. I wish him nothing but the best. I know he can play, and I think he'll be even better and better as the years go on. But I view it as an opportunity for Jaylen and Jason to do the kind of things that they're capable of doing even more so. I don't consider it as major as some other people would.
But Gordon, I think it's a huge hit for the Celtics, and I think I thought the Celtics had a puncher's chance this year because it's a weird season in the bubble, and they got a lot of guys who can play at a high level in the starting unit, 4 real offensive threats, and I think they're too thin in terms of their depth to afford to take this kind of hit. The thing about Gordon Hayward, Stephen A., you're right. Jaylen Brown's numbers may go up. He shoots the three, he shoots a bunch of them, he hits them. He's a versatile player, as Gordon Hayward is. And so his counting numbers may go up, but all that really happened is you lost a guy who's key for your defense because he's a versatile defender. Your perimeter defense just got weaker and is an excellent offensive player still. He spaces the floor with his three-point shooting. He gets points in transition where you don't really have to run plays for the guy. He's just an excellent, Gordon Hayward is an excellent complementary piece. He'd make just about any team better. If you had him on the team, he'd be in a rotation on any team and making positive contributions both ends of the floor. I agree. Post-injury, he's not an A in any, you wouldn't give him an A or an A+ in any kind of aspect of his game, but he's a B+ everywhere. And if you lose a player like that on a team that's relying heavily on 4 guys for most of your production and otherwise doesn't have a ton of depth, that's a huge hit. Like, they were teetering, like, can the Celtics give, like, Toronto run or Milwaukee run? If everything's going right, now the answer is no, not without Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, I got to agree with you, Max. I think it's a huge blow. When you look down that roster, not much depth. I mean, Marcus Smart, Ernest Cantor, the bench scored 8 points, guys, in game one. You know how much they won by? 8 points. And so, when you take that 17 points possibly on any given night, 30 points. And, Steven, I had the Celtics coming out of the East because the way I see it, when you look at it now, the East is wide open. I mean, Orlando beat Milwaukee. They look vulnerable. And no home court advantage. That was a huge blow for Milwaukee. They were the favorites because they would have had home court advantage, crowd behind them, new stadium. And so I think it's wide open. And I had the Celtics coming out of the Eastern Conference. But that's a critical blow for them to lose that point production. Like you said, Max, a guy who could spread the floor, who could knock down shots, a guy who you could give the ball, play pick and roll with. Yes, Tatum and Brown, their numbers are going to go up, but I think with his injury, it's going to even the playing field with Philadelphia. They didn't win by much, and like I said, the Celtics don't have a deep bench, and so this series can be a long series for Boston.
A few things to note. Number one, I don't disagree with the breakdown of his game. We all agree on that, and nobody's trying to sit up there and throw shade on that. But I didn't have Boston coming out of the East. I didn't think they had the depth necessary in order to pull it off. So my position has been consistent with that. And in the case of you, Paul, my position has always been consistent in terms of my feelings about Gordon Hayward's presence and the kind of effect he's had on other people's games. In the past, when I've talked about Gordon Hayward, I said, listen, he's got this skill set, but because he's not what he used to be, because he's still not 100% in this day and age, the reality is that there's some things that he's taking away from other people. Now, that might not be a big deal because you might need that additional body. You might need those kind of things going on. But I've always been of the mindset that, he's kind of curtailed the explosiveness of others on a consistent basis. So let's say, for example, you got a situation where Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum up their level of productivity, not just volume, but productivity. Imagine what that could do for the team. That's just how I think in the breakdown of Gordon Hayward.
Stephen A., I don't understand the argument. I understand the argument when he was still not right and coach was playing him too much. Oh, Brad Stevens has experience with him. He's a coach's pet and all that. But anyone with Gordon Hayward's game is going to be a coach's pet. He does everything you need a basketball player to do, basically, on both ends of the floor, and you don't need to feed him. You don't need to, run plays for him and stuff. When you look at this team, is their big three good enough to win a championship? If Gordon Hayward's your fourth, Gordon Hayward, let's say he's not one of the three best players, but three best players, but he's one of the four. I don't think Kemba and Tatum and right now Jaylen Brown are good enough to win you a championship. But if Hayward is your fourth best player, maybe.
But I didn't feel they were going to win the championship this year. That's number one. And number two, Paul, let me try to throw it to you this way. You got that player, right, that they do a lot of things right, and they're effective. And they're like a glue piece because they're smart, they make good decisions, they can shoot the rock when they're open, kind of stuff. But in the same breath, something's missing. Something's missing. And when I look at Gordon Hayward and I think about the potential that I believe a Jaylen Brown has, combined with what I'm already seeing from a Jason Tatum. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.